Thank you so much, Mike. And whatever else happens tonight, I have a new gig at The Wire. This is really going to be great. As long as you'll edit it carefully and rewrite it so it's understandable, you're right. Before I deliver my lengthy and dry remarks, I do want to thank you for welcoming us to Roosevelt Island. This was a dream of the mayor and the deputy mayor, Steele, and President Pinsky, and we are here with you, and because of your welcome, to fulfill these dreams. And because of leadership and representation you have from the people who have spoken before me, Carolyn, and Micah, and Jessica, we're here to work with you, we're here to listen to you. We're going to spend the evening sharing some ideas with you about what we have planned so far. And I want to tell you at the beginning of these remarks that we are early in the process. We're in a listening mode. I really mean listening. I don't mean that we've come here with all the decisions made. Most of the specific decisions have yet to be made. And we want to work with you and listen to you and work as partners. Now that's easy to say. And so I hope that you will do your homework on us by learning more about Cornell University that has almost 150-year-old history in New York State, over 100-year-old history in New York City. And I hope that you'll find out about the things that we have done working with and listening to other communities around the state and around the world. So with that, I want to begin by introducing some of my colleagues who are here. I'm going to give a general outline of our thinking, and if you don't mind, I'm going to share with you a little tiny bit about Cornell University, in case you're not very familiar with us. And then I'm going to turn it over to the two young leaders of this campus, one of whom is already your neighbor, and then they'll tell you some more detail, and then we'll do our very best to openly and honestly answer whatever kinds of questions you'd like to throw at us. I want to start by introducing Kent Fox, who is the provost of Cornell University. He's a world-famous engineer, was dean of our College of Engineering for some 6 years, and is now the chief academic officer of the university. What that means is that the deans of the many different colleges report to him, including Vice Provost and Dean Huttenlocher, who I'll introduce a little bit later. And this is the man most personally responsible for the success of the campus, which is why he looks a tiny bit bent over now compared to how he looked a year ago. Ken Fox. I want to also introduce Dean Lance Collins, Dean of our very highly rated College of Engineering. And Lance is a very distinguished researcher. And one of the aspects of that college, which I hope was in the thinking of our colleagues in City Hall, is the record of this college and of the Faculty of Computing and Information Science as being very student-oriented. This is an institution with some 3.5 dozen Nobel laureates to our credit, who nonetheless has the tradition that the most coveted prize at Cornell University is something called the Weiss Presidential Fellowship, which is based on skill in teaching students. Very unusual for one of the world's top research universities, and Dean Collins has continued that tradition. The team that's really doing the day-to-day work and leading us, and very much responsible for putting together the application that, with your support and with generosity of our alumni, was able to bring us to this wonderful night tonight. First, Professor Dan Huttenlocher, who is Vice Provost and founding Dean of Dan is the Dean of the Faculty of Computing and Information Science, and is a very unusual person, having spent part of his career in the business world, part of his career in academia. Am I doing okay with a microphone? Can you hear me okay? Good, that's good. Also teaches in our business school, in our MBA program. So he embodies a lot of the academic background and skills that we intend to infuse in this campus. His partner, the vice president of the campus, and your neighbor is Kathy Dove. Kathy Dove is a Cornell alum and a very accomplished administrator. Up till recently, she was associate dean of the College of Engineering, and she is overseeing all the development and outreach and operational aspects of the campus. Dan and Kathy, as I mentioned, were instrumental in formulating the proposal, very talented and people-oriented, and once again, it's easy for me to say that. You'll decide whether that's true or not. I believe that you will come to believe that it is true, and you'll be hearing more from them in a few minutes once I yield the floor, where they'll tell you a bit more detail about the operational plans for this campus. First, if you'll indulge me, I want to spend just a couple, 3-4 minutes telling you a little bit about Cornell University. So Cornell University is the only private university in the United States that performs the complete land grant function for its state. You might not know what land grant means. I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know what it meant. As Deputy Mayor Steele mentioned, in 1862, the Morrill Act, named for a congressman, M-O-R-R-I-L-L, was passed by the U.S. Congress during the Civil War, in which states were granted land. They could sell the land and use the proceeds to establish an educational institution if the institution would be dedicated not only to teaching its students, but to serving the public in that state. In those days, the focus was on agriculture and what they used to call the mechanic arts, what we now call engineering. And Cornell is the only private school to bear that function. We serve the citizens of New York State since the beginning in all 57 upstate counties, in all 5 boroughs of New York City right now. And we therefore have in our fabric, our DNA, you could call it, the idea of a formal public mandate. And to my knowledge, we're the only private university in the United States, Ivy League university, very highly ranked school, that has a formal public mandate. So we're not here with the idea that we're doing you some kind of big favor by being here. This is our public mandate. It's what we were established to do. We're the recipient of a lot of public money in addition to a lot of private money. And so we believe that we need to make this a success. Obviously, we're going to benefit from it. We hope and dream that New York City will benefit from it, and we're counting on all of you benefiting from it as well. We've had a strong presence in New York City across the water for 100 years at Weill Cornell Medical College, affiliated with New York Presbyterian Hospital. I'm very proud to be on the staff of that institution. And we have other educational and research footprints all over Manhattan, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. I want to tell you a little bit about Cornell's record for starting businesses. In the last 5 years alone, alumni of Cornell University have started 2,600 companies, capitalized to almost $11 billion in the last 5 years. Thank you. I wish I could take credit for even one of those companies, but I'm glad and very proud and humble, really, to be a part of the leadership of this organization that's done this. Our partner in this project is Technion, Israel Institute of Technology, and I'll give you one single statistic about this international powerhouse of turning research into something that helps the public, and that is that there are more companies on the NASDAQ market started by current faculty or alumni of the Technion, of this one institution, than there are companies on the NASDAQ from the entire European Union. This is a very, very, very unusual institution that's done a lot to turn research into products. As Mayor Bloomberg wrote in the Financial Times just about a week ago, the quote is, "Running a city isn't what it used to be. The 21st century economy has generated a new responsibility, staying ahead of the competition." And this is the right moment, as Deputy Mayor Steele and President Pinsky mentioned, and Maloney as well, to ensure that New York City remains a leader in the economy of the world based on the tech revolution. These leaders, Congresswoman Maloney and Assemblyperson Kellner, and Councilwoman Lappin, and everyone else who you've seen up here, have been walking this walk for years. And we've been doing it in a different way, and our job now is to join with these leaders, to follow them, and to work with you as partners to make Roosevelt Island part of the leadership of the tech revolution, not just in Manhattan, not just in New York City, but really throughout the world. It's sort of a cliche to say that something is a win-win, but I believe that this collaboration is really a three-way win-win-win. I believe it's going to be very positive for Roosevelt Island in many ways. I believe it's going to be very net positive for New York City in many ways. And I believe it's going to be very net positive for Cornell University. And so we're very, very enthusiastic about this. We have been hard at work on this project ever since Mayor Bloomberg selected us on December 19th. I got the call from Mr. Pinsky and Mr. Steele at 5:40 p.m. that night. Not that it was a big event for me, I just happened to remember the time. And they said, in so many words, you know, we have good news and bad news for you. I think what they said was we have good news and other news for you. And they said the good news is that you won this competition, your team, and you get this land on Roosevelt Island that you wanted and that wants you. You get up to $100 million in costs from the city. And in return for that, we know you're going to leverage that many, many times by your own investment, but we need you to hurry up. The party is over. We hope you enjoyed this phone call. Basically what it was. And that was the last relaxed moment that I've had in terms of this project. Now, I want to tell you a little tiny bit about some evidence that we take our responsibility to the wider community seriously. I hope you'll do your homework on me and on the campus by looking at what we do in Ithaca, New York, in Tompkins County, in Geneva, New York, or elsewhere here in the city. On 34th Street, our world-famous School of Industrial Labor Relations, which studies the world of work from both the employer and employee side, has interacted with the city for a long time on issues of work. In Chelsea on 17th Street, the #1 ranked undergraduate architecture program in the U.S. operates. Our architecture program is taught in 3 cities, New York City, Ithaca, and Rome, Italy. And on Broad Street, right by Wall Street, we have a classroom and program space for our graduate program in operations research and information engineering, what has been called financial engineering. So between those and the Cornell Cooperative Extension in all 5 boroughs and Weill Cornell Medical College, we have this broad presence. The Cooperative Extension, which is the statewide land grant service that Cornell does by public mandate, reached last year alone about 1.8 million New York residents. And as the tech campus develops on Roosevelt Island, I hope that you will help us to learn more about the needs in this area, to help us, help our colleagues in Extension and throughout the land grant mission, direct even more efforts in this community separate from and above the activities of the tech campus. I do strongly believe that the combination of the city, and specifically Roosevelt Island and Cornell and Technion, will turn this dream of Mr. Pinsky and Mr. Steele into a reality. I want to thank you very much for your attention. Now I want to ask the real leadership team, Dan Huttenlocker and Kathy Dove, to come forward and provide you a more detailed look at what we're dreaming of. Thank you very much.